Hey everybody. So what do you think? What do you think of the song? Well, anyway, we knew me. I made that purchase because of copyright infringement. I made my own. Depending on the version. Well, depending on the version you play, depending on which one. So if you're watching the copyright-free version, that's my version. But if you're back to the copyright version, then that's the original song. Anyway, I got to talk about. It's down in the copyright-free version. There was my own rendition for "Hail to the Chief." So what'd you think? Anyway, also the image I used was a snowflake I made in honor of JFK100. You know what year it got first place at the fair? Oh, and speaking of that, do you know what year this is? This year marks 100 years since JFK was born. If he was still alive today, he'd be 100 years old today. And do you know? Sorry. And do you know what today is? It's JFK Remembrance Day. Today marks the day that JFK was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald. If he was still alive today, he'd be 100 years old because it's, as I said before, this year marks the 100th year. You know? And it's not an official holiday yet, but when I become president, I'm gonna make it an official holiday. And to honor JFK100, I'm wearing this. I love the guy. Because this is what the country needs. Change. And go forward, not back. Anyway. Well, I was saying, it's been 54 years since he was assassinated. I could have done 4 years ago, it was 50 years since he was assassinated. I'm just lucky. Just lucky he wasn't. We're just lucky his death wasn't ordered by the Soviets. Otherwise, we all wouldn't be here right now. Also, it's ironic. Kennedy was killed on November 22nd, a day before Thanksgiving. Sad, isn't it? 100 years. Can you believe it? 1917 to 2017. 100th year anniversary. But as we know, a man may die, nations may rise and fall, but an ideal lives on. That was a quote by JFK, by the way. So as we know, the legacy of JFK still lives on 100 years after his birth. Because as we know, visionaries never go out of style. A visionary like Kennedy. Oh, and speaking of this year, Trump, I don't know if Trump did a good thing or bad when he released the Kennedy files. That's based on your opinion. But what I do know is if any of you are thinking it, guess what? Trump is not Kennedy. And if Kennedy was still alive today, he would have voiced his concern. He would have voiced his opinion against him because he knows that is not what the country he was not. He is not. Trump is not what this country needs. And I believe Kennedy would have supported someone like Bernie Sanders. But that's, which I'm hoping is true. Anyway, more about JFK. Who is he, by the way? Answer: I believe he's America's most badass, a hero, a patriot, and a great president. And it's true, he did have some faults. Like the sex scandal, I mean, his father really did come from a life of lines, I think, but that doesn't go say his descendants want to be part of that. I think today's Kennedys would agree, are like that. They're not, like that. Like, I guess, like the first Kennedy. Anyway. And even his first Kennedy, I think, was in league with the Nazis, I think. But I don't think his father wanted part of it. That's, I think, anyway. I think that's right. Of the history. Anyway. So what do we know? May 29, 1917, of Irish descent, Kennedy was born in Brooklyn, Massachusetts. 1940, he graduated from Harvard, joined the Navy, awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal for heroism after helping maroon crew to safety. 1946, elected to Congress, Massachusetts, re-elected 1948 and 1950. 1952, elected to Senate, soon after marries Jacqueline Bouvier on September 12th. On November 8th, 1960, elected 35th U.S. President, defeated Republican candidate Richard Nixon, and became the youngest president ever, behind Theodore Roosevelt, which I think that's right. I don't know how old Theodore Roosevelt was when he got elected, but still. And then back on topic. April 1961, Kennedy approves the Bay of Pigs invasion by CIA-trained Cubans, exiles and failed bid to overthrow communist leader Fidel Castro. Now about that, if only he had air support, the mission would have succeeded. The mission would have succeeded, and Castro would have been out. But because it failed, he was forced to admit about what they'd done, which leads to this one. October 1962, the Cuban Missile Crisis. Kennedy now, which I'm glad Kennedy solved the problem, because if Johnson or Nixon handled it, we'd all be dead. I believe, and that almost became reality of Johnson, because I don't know how long, but sometime before someone was gonna kill Kennedy with a car bomb, I think, but hesitated and didn't do it when he saw his children there. Which I'm glad that happened. No, just because you think killing the president make you famous, no, it just makes things bad. There are other ways to get famous. Killing him just gets you the wrong kind of fame. There's positive fame and negative fame. And negative fame is not the one you want, because killing a president, like, unless you regret killing the president, could get you negative fame, make you hated, or depending on how well loved or hated the president was. But anyway, it's not what God wants. Unless you repent from that sin, you're going down to hell when you die. Anyway, back on topic. Cuban Missile Crisis. Thanks to naval blockade, the Cuban Missile Crisis was resolved, and we avoided a Third World War. In June 26, 1963, Kennedy delivers speech in West Berlin in support of West Germany after erection of Berlin Wall. But then in November 22nd, 1963, President Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas, Texas, by Lee Harvey Oswald. It just isn't fair. He shouldn't have died. But for some people, he says his death was unnecessary, because he was going to pull the troops out of Vietnam, all of them, but then this happens. I don't know what else. But we do. He probably wouldn't have the guts. But some people are saying he didn't have the guts to get the Civil Rights Bill passed, unlike Johnson, who did. His persuasiveness really did help it out. Lee Harvey Oswald, the man who will go down in history as one of the most hated people in America. Anyway, Kennedy was the 35th president of the United States from 1961 to 1963, and after his death, he was buried at Arlington National Cemetery. Now, some people think I'm just going to talk about Kennedy now. I found a little archive. I found a little archive of footage which I'm a quote with an actual audio in it, and I made a picture dedicated to it, which I'm going to show you in dedication to what I think is most important that we should be solving on this planet. Here we go.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this century is out of becoming environmentally friendly and saving the earth before it's too late. No single green project in this period will be more impressive to mankind or more important for the long-range preservation of our one and only planet.
So what did you think? Tell me, who thought that was Kennedy speaking? Do you think that's Kennedy? Guess what? If you said it was, you're wrong. That was me. So what do you think? But I do know that's what he would say if he was alive today. And I think the Kennedy family would agree. I believe, anyway. Anyway, tell me, leave a comment down if you think I did an excellent job as a Kennedy impersonator, even though I don't look like him at all. Anyway, back on topic. I think it's kind of ironic that Kennedy was struck down by two curses: the Kennedy curse and the curse of Tippy Kanu, also known as the Tecumseh curse. But what did John F. Kennedy survive the assassination? Well, that has always been an interestable twist for authors or alternative stories, like alternate history hub from YouTube, which that user has a video of describing what if Kennedy survived. But anyway, some of the best writers of the past 50 years have tackled this plot device since that fateful day in Dallas on November 22nd, 1963. Some are fanciful, such as the 1992 short story collection Alternate Kennedy. These, which set the Klan to Hollywood. Sorry about that, hang on. And now where was I? Okay, oh yeah. Ah yes. Others take a serious turn, reversing the 1960s amazing progress in civil rights. Here are 5 intriguing ways history may have changed if Kennedy had survived the assassination attempt, or if gunman Lee Harvey Oswald had never taken the shot. Here are 5 intriguing ways history may have changed if Kennedy had survived the assassination attempt, or if gunman Lee Harvey Oswald had never taken the shot. Sorry about that. Anyway. I did it. I did twice. Sorry about that. Sorry. The problem with me anyway. Number one, the 1964 election. Number 2, Vietnam. Number 3, civil rights. Number 4, the Cold War. And number 5, the space program. If you want to find out more about what if JFK was never assassinated, then go online. Or if they make any documentaries about it, then look those up. That's the best I can do. All right. Oh, and speaking of Lee Harvey Oswald, what do we know about him? Well, Lee Harvey Oswald was born on October 18, 1939. He was an American former U.S. Marine and Marxist who assassinated United States President John F. Kennedy on November 22, 1963. According to four federal government investigations and one municipal investigation, Oswald shot and killed Kennedy from a sniper's nest as the president traveled by motorcade through Dealey Plaza in the city of Dallas, Texas. Oswald was honorably discharged, but before all that happened, Oswald was honorably discharged from the Marine Corps and defected to the Soviet Union in October 1953. He lived in the Belarusian city of Minsk until June 1962, at which time he returned to the United States with his Russian wife Marie and eventually settled in Dallas. Now, what we know, I'm not sure this is right, but when he was fit to come back, he was trying to expect reporters and all that coming back, but he never did it. This is a reason. It's sick how people think, want to become a somebody. There's no like that, and assassination is never the way to do it. All it just does is if you don't repent for what you've done, it could eventually lead you into a one-way ticket into hell. There are better ways to become famous: time, and patience. I don't know how to explain that any better. But anyway, back on topic. About 45 minutes after Oswald fatally shot Kennedy, he shot and killed Dallas police officer J.D. Tippit on a local street. Oswald then slipped into a movie theater where he was arrested for Tippit's murder. It was lucky the guy noticed that he was, a little panicky and noticed him ducking into a movie theater. Otherwise, he probably would have got away. Anyway, Oswald was later charged with the murder of Kennedy. But he was a liar throughout his life, and he denied shooting anybody, saying that he was just a patsy, which I don't believe at all. He should have been tried for his crimes, but he never was. Because 2 days later, Oswald was in the process of being transferred from the city jail to the county jail when he was fatally shot by Dallas nightclub owner and Kennedy lover Jack Ruby in a full view of television cameras broadcast live. On Sunday, November 24th, Oswald was being escorted by detectives through the basement of Dallas Police Headquarters towards an armored car that was to take him to the nearby county jail. Then at 11:21 a.m. Central Standard Time, Dallas nightclub operator Jack Ruby stepped from the crowd and shot Oswald once in the abdomen at close range. Oswald was taken unconscious by ambulance to Parkland Memorial Hospital, the same hospital where doctors tried to save President Kennedy's life 2 days earlier. Oswald died at 1:07 p.m. Dallas Police Chief Jesse Curry announced Oswald's death on a TV news broadcast. At 2:45 p.m. the same day, an autopsy was performed on Oswald in the office of the county medical examiner. Announcing the results of the gross autopsy, Dallas County medical examiner Earl Rose said, "The two things that we could determine were, first, that he died from hemorrhage from a gunshot wound, and that otherwise he was a physically healthy man." Rose's examination found that the bullet entered Oswald's left side in the front part of the abdomen and caused damage to his spleen, stomach, aorta, vena cava, kidney, liver, diaphragm, and 11th rib before coming to rest on his right side. A network television pool camera was there to cover the transfer and was broadcasting live. Millions of people who were watching on NBC witnessed the shooting as it happened, and on other networks within minutes afterward. In 1964, Robert H. Jackson of Dallas Times Herald was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for photography for his image of the murder of Lee Harvey Oswald by Jack Ruby. Now, it's funny. A few key differences could have changed a lot, and eventually could have caused Oswald to live, and Jack Ruby never to murder him. He could have been tried, but I bet in the parallel universe that became a reality. But you can find out about this in the documentaries where I got that information. Anyway, we were just lucky that the Soviets didn't murder Kennedy on his behalf, because if they did, then the U.S. government would have considered an act of war, and World War III would have started, and maybe and so would have begun the process of nuclear Armageddon. So we just avoided so much that day. But if Fidel Castro did have any part of his assassination, I know he didn't order the hit, but if he had information about the hit and didn't tell him, then all I have to say about Castro is, I'm glad that man's dead. I could have said the other word, but I didn't want to, because in case the little kids were watching this. No, seriously. Anyway, if you want to know more about Lee Harvey Oswald, make sure the source is legit, and go online. And check out documentaries too, like I have. Oh yeah. And speaking of Jack Ruby, what do we know about him too? Jack Leon Ruby, who was born with the full name of Jack Leon Rubenstein on November 25th, 1911, and was the Dallas, Texas nightclub owner who fatally shot Lee Harvey Oswald on November 24, 1963. While Oswald was in police custody after being charged with assassinating U.S. President John F. Kennedy and the murder of Dallas policeman J.D. Tippit, who 2 days earlier, sorry about that. A Dallas jury found him guilty of murdering Oswald, and he was sentenced to death. However, Ruby's conviction was later appealed, and he was granted a new trial. However, on January 3rd, 1967, as the date for his new trial was being set, Ruby became ill in his prison cell and died of pulmonary embolism. I don't know how to pronounce that. From lung cancer. And again, like with the other two, you want to look online or watch documentaries about Jack Ruby. You know, it's ironic. this. The fact, comparing the 4 funerals, here's how I rank them by how many people attended. Number 1, J. Kennedy. Number 2 or 3, and it could be flopped either way. It could be either J.D. Tippit or Jack Ruby. While in last place was Lee Harvey Oswald. It's ironic. After killing the president, hardly anyone came to his funeral. It just goes to say that's the price of negative fame. Because if you do something more very hated, they'll remember you as a villain, not a hero. At least that's what I think how it goes. The saying goes. Anyway. In September 1964, the Warren Commission released its findings and concluded that Oswald acted alone in assassinating Kennedy by firing 3 shots from the Texas School Book Depository. This conclusion was supported by previous investigations carried out by the FBI, the Secret Service, and the Dallas Police Department. Also, the Warren Commission concluded that Ruby acted alone in killing Oswald. However, various groups believed Ruby was involved with major figures in organized crime and that he killed Oswald as a part of an overall plot surrounding the assassination of Kennedy. And despite forensic, ballistic, and eyewitness evidence supporting the gunman theory, public opinion polls taken over the years have shown that most Americans believe that Oswald did not act alone, but conspired with others to kill the president. The assassination has spawned numerous conspiracy theories, which I personally don't believe in unless there is 100+% evidence that actually backs up the theory. It may be true that history would have changed if Kennedy wasn't assassinated on that day. But would killing anyone out of anger, especially out of anger, really change anything? Larry Funk once said that the world won't change for the better unless we trust people. Trust is vital in a peaceful world. But that will never happen or begin. Not as long as those corrupt politicians are in charge. Right now I'm a college student, and I'm still learning, and I'm working hard to become your president by around 2050. I want to find out for myself what Kennedy had envisioned for both America and planet Earth, and what his volition really was that drove him to do so. I may not find what I'm looking for or understand in this lifetime, but I still want to try. Anyway, that's what I come to believe and understand. I think that's enough. Wait. Are you watching this video right now, Kennedy? Because if you are, then I have a message for you. Hey, Kennedy. Thank you. And keep us safe for all of eternity.
Thanks for watching this video. Now don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. If you do one of them or manage to do them all, which includes watching this video again, I would really appreciate it. But until then, remember that even in heaven, Kennedy is still inspiring and encouraging both our country and the planet to move forward. But that will only work if we keep him close in our hearts. That is his final wish to us from beyond the grave.